Have you ever tried to interpret your dreams? Do you believe that your dreams are vessels of knowledge, trying to guide you to higher forms of being? It's hard to say for certain. Sometimes a dream can just seem like a random amalgamation of characters, locations, and events without any inherent meaning. For example, I once had a dream that I was eating a cheeseburger at a Wendy's restaurant. There were two people sitting at the same table as me. Sitting on my right was Steven Tyler from the band Aerosmith, and sitting on my left was Ice Cube, the rapper. I had no idea what to make of this dream, if there was anything to make of it. The day after I had this dream, I reached out to a friend of mine who is a fellow scholar of the psychoanalytic tradition for his opinion on the dream. He asked how long I had been listening to rock music and rap music, respectively. I had been listening to Aerosmith for as long as I could remember, and I had only been getting into rap music for the last year or so. When I said this, my friend suggested that maybe I was beginning to realize that I could like both forms of music, that they could sit at the same table and be appreciated for both their merits. Suddenly, the incomprehensible dream made perfect sense to me. Dreams, and by extension the unconscious mind, do not work within the confines of human language. It uses images, many of which tend to contradict or have no relation to one another. Many times, they seem to possess no underlying meaning whatsoever, but that doesn't mean there isn't one. Whether or not you can accept the way dreams function will determine whether or not you can appreciate the work of somebody like David Lynch, for example, the director behind movies like Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, Lost Highway, and the critically acclaimed television show Twin Peaks. All of these works have a dreamy quality, with images and scenes that often do not seem to have any relation to one another. However, if you work within the boundaries of dream logic, you often find that Lynch is offering his audience a puzzle that, once completed, bears a horrifying image. Today, I would like to demonstrate Lynch's technique by presenting what many consider to be his magnum opus, the 2001 film Mulholland Drive. Before I can discuss this film, I must repeat something that I've been saying a lot recently. Mulholland Drive is, objectively, one of the most analyzed movies ever made. Therefore, trying to find something original to say, as I always try to do, is impossible with this movie. I have wanted to do a video on this movie since 2017, when I first saw it, but I've waited 4 years because I didn't know what new thing I could offer. It took 4 years for me to realize that if I were to talk about this film, I would need to present the pre-existing information in an original way, rather than try to justify a far-fetched theory. With this video, I will be addressing something that is well known in the David Lynch fandom, but has never been given full and undivided attention in a video. If you bought Mulholland Drive on DVD, you might have noticed this insert, David Lynch's 10 clues to unlocking this thriller. I intend to respond to these clues step by step, recreating the experience that many missed out on years ago, holding up that insert and watching the film frame by frame. Before I do that, however, I think it would be helpful to give a basic outline of what the film is actually all about. Then, I will go through the 10 clues in order to justify that interpretation. Needless to say, there are spoilers ahead. Let us try and put the events of Mulholland Drive in a clear chronological order. First, we must understand that the main character of the film is not Betty, it's Diane Selwyn. Though they are both played by the same actress, only one of them is real. Betty is a fake persona that exists solely inside the head of Diane, just like most of the film does, but we'll talk more about that in a moment. Anyways, Diane is an aspiring actress who moves to Hollywood following two inciting events. First of all, her Aunt Ruth died, leaving her a sizable inheritance. Second, she won a jitterbug contest, a feat that led towards her wanting to be an actress. So, she decides to take the money and her renewed sense of confidence to Hollywood to pursue her dream. When she gets there, she meets another aspiring actress named Camilla Rhodes, whom she develops a sexual relationship with. A natural byproduct of this relationship was Camilla helping Diane get some parts in some movies. One day, Camilla breaks off the relationship with Diane to begin a relationship with a big Hollywood director named Adam Kesher. This upsets Diane for two reasons. One, she lost somebody who she viewed to be the love of her life, and 2, she was furious that Camilla clearly began this relationship with Adam to get the lead role in his movie. Not only that, she did the same thing for a previous movie directed by a different director. In other words, she slept her way to the top. Furious at this betrayal of not only their relationship, but also of ethics in the workplace, Diane seeks deadly revenge. She hires a hitman named Joe to kill Camilla. The hitman tells Diane that once the murder was carried out, she would find a blue key at the quote-unquote place that he told her. Diane finds the blue key and immediately begins to feel tremendous guilt, a la Crime and Punishment. She holes up in her apartment for weeks, hiding from the authorities. One day, she falls asleep on her bed and begins to dream. The contents of this dream make up, roughly, the first 2 hours of the movie. Remember what I said about dreams and how they often feature characters, images, and scenes that don't necessarily relate to one another? We see this all throughout the first 2 hours of the movie. The best example is probably the Winky's Diner scene. We never see the two characters featured in this scene any other time in the movie, save for a 2-second glance that one of them makes towards Diane near the end. That is because these characters, like so many other characters in the movie, are figments of Diane's mind, coming and going like images in a dream. Although they might seem like random scenes strung together, they are all pointing to the same underlying truth, that Diane murdered Camilla out of feelings of jealousy and resentment towards not just her, but the Hollywood system. Let's address the characters we meet in Diane's dream one by one so you can get a better understanding of how all this works. The two men in Winky's Diner encounter a homeless person outside, scaring one of the men to death. This homeless person represents the dirty, dark secret that Diane carries inside of her, partially because she's covered in dirt, but also because she carries this blue box. We'll talk more about that box in a little while. Adam Kesher, the version that we see in Diane's dream, represents the integrity of filmmaking as an art, as well as the idealized version of Hollywood as a place where great artists come together. He is constantly screwed over by the people around him, by the producers of his film, as well as his wife. Make note of the fact that this mistreatment often appears completely unjust. This is because Diane felt she was unjustly treated by both her lover and the Hollywood system. Plus, she felt that, like Dream Adam, she wasn't respected for her talent. Rather, her success was determined by whether or not she would accept the sexual advances of Hollywood executives. The indifference that Hollywood bigwigs have towards talent, artistic integrity, and ethics is personified in the character of Bob Brooker. During Betty/Diane's big audition scene, Bob Brooker seems to be in his own little world, not paying attention to the incredible job that both actors did. It's as if Betty/Diane's ultimate success will be based on something other than talent, that being sexual favors. Joe's inability to carry out a clean assassination in her dream represents Diane's remorse, wishing that she never did what she did. Rita/Camilla getting amnesia represents Diane's desire to reunite with the love of her life, even if it means making her forget who she is. This carries on and on with the various characters and settings of Mulholland Drive. They are all abstract, dreamlike representations of Diane's state of mind. Diane slowly falls into insanity throughout the course of the dream, and throughout the course of her waking life, following the assassination. Eventually, she concludes that she cannot bear the psychological torment of what she did, so she commits suicide. That's the classic understanding of what Mulholland Drive is all about. Now, I will go through the 10 clues that David Lynch provided us in the DVD box set, so that I may justify this interpretation. Clue number 1. Pay particular attention to the beginning of the film. At least 2 clues are revealed before the opening credits. The 2 clues are the jitterbug contest and Diane falling asleep on the pillow. The jitterbug contest was a real thing that happened, which Diane confirms towards the end of the movie while at Adam and Camilla's party. Diane falling asleep on the pillow indicates that the events that follow are all a part of the dream. It is only when the cowboy later tells Diane to wake up that she wakes up from the dream. Clue number 2. Notice appearances of the red lampshade. The red lampshade exists inside Diane's house. It appears twice, once in the dream and once in reality. In the dream, the red lampshade appears when the Hollywood moguls are trying to find out what happened to Rita/Camilla following the accident on Mulholland Drive. They call Diane in the dream, suspecting that she is somehow involved. The fact that the call goes unanswered in the dream reflects Diane's desire to not only move past what she did, but also to maintain her idealized, innocent perception of Hollywood. In other words, Diane escapes into her dream and invents her false persona Betty as a form of wish fulfillment, to experience the Hollywood of her dreams, and forget that she had anything to do with Camilla's murder. The second time we see the lampshade is in reality. In reality, Diane answers the phone call and hears Camilla's voice. This is when she invites Diane to the party that we see near the end of the film. The fact that the red lampshade appears alongside both calls, and both calls center around Rita/Camilla, suggests a connection between her and the color red. This is supported by the fact that we often see Rita/Camilla wearing the color red throughout the rest of the film. As for why the color red is important, the best theory I have come across associates the color red with prostitution. Oftentimes, when a prostitute is inviting business, she'll put on a red light outside her window, an act that we see referenced in this scene, when Aunt Ruth leaves her apartment in the dream. Given the fact that Camilla allowed herself to be prostituted in order to gain financial and social renown, the use of the red light makes sense. Clue number 3. Can you hear the title of the film that Adam Kesher is auditioning actresses for? Is it mentioned again? In the dream, we briefly hear the name of Adam Kesher's movie when he is auditioning actresses. The name of the movie is The Sylvia North Story. In reality, we hear the name of the movie again, but we learn that Adam Kesher didn't direct that movie. It was Bob Brooker, the indifferent movie director that we met during the audition scene in the dream. This confirms that we are dealing with two separate realities. One reality is Diane's dream, and the other reality is reality. Clue number 4. An accident is a terrible event. Notice the location of the accident. The accident in question refers to the car accident that Rita/Camilla suffers at the beginning of the dream. This accident happens in the same place that Diane's limo stops in reality, right below where Adam and Camilla's party is taking place. There are two ways to view this accident. The failed hit on Rita/Camilla represents Diane's remorse for ordering the hit in the first place. She wishes that the hit failed so that she doesn't have to feel guilt. The second way to view this accident is that it prevents Camilla from arriving at the party. This removes the possibility of Diane meeting up with Camilla at the party, where she felt those intense feelings of betrayal and anger that motivated her to kill Camilla. Clue number 5. Who gives a key, and why? 2 keys are given in this film. One is given by Coco to Betty in the dream world, and another is given to Diane by Joe in reality. There is a third key, but it isn't given. It's the blue key that Rita/Camilla finds in her purse, the one that unlocks the aforementioned blue box. The first 2 keys open different pathways. The one that Betty receives from Coco opens up the metaphorical door to Betty's dream world. The one that unlocks the blue box opens the door towards consciousness, the door out of the dream world back to reality. As for the blue key that Joe gives Diane, it has a symbolic purpose, and it has to do with the color blue. We'll discuss that purpose more when we get to clue number 7. Clue number 6. Notice the robe, the ashtray, the coffee cup. This one is a bit tricky, because David Lynch says there's a singular robe, ashtray, and coffee cup, when in fact, there are multiple robes, ashtrays, and coffee cups in the movie. Both Diane and Camilla wear multiple different types and colors of robes. There are 2 ashtrays, one beside the red lampshade, and a piano-looking ashtray on Diane's living room table. Then there are multiple coffee cups, 2 of which are used by Diane, one used by Adam, and another used by Luigi Castigliani. I'll offer my thoughts regarding which robe, ashtray, and coffee cup are important. I think the simplest and most meaningful answer about which robe we need to notice is the one that Aunt Ruth gives to Betty. It's the same one that Betty puts over Rita/Camilla when she falls asleep. The fact that Rita wears this robe, and the robe is red, might signify the fact that Rita/Camilla slept with someone to get the part in the Sylvia North story. The coffee cup, and whether somebody drinks from it or not, signifies a waking up to reality. When Diane drinks the coffee, she is waking up to the terrifying reality of Hollywood, and how some actresses win roles in big movies. When Luigi Castiglione rejects the espresso, he is choosing to remain unconscious, to be silent about the reality, because it benefits people like him. Finally, there are the two ashtrays. The one by the red lampshade has red lipstick on it, lipstick that Camilla wears. Camilla is the one that we see smoke in the film, unlike Diane/Betty, who doesn't smoke. This could be the ashtray, but I think the one that carries more significance is the piano ashtray. When the piano ashtray is present, the metaphorical music is playing. Diane's dream relationship with Camilla, her dream in Hollywood, is still humming along. But when it's taken away, when the metaphorical music stops, then the dream is over, and Diane despairs. Clue number 7. What is felt, realized, and gathered at the Club Silencio? Everything is an illusion. That's what the performers are trying to get across. Everything that occurs at Club Silencio is Diane's abstract way of telling herself that everything she sees isn't real. It's a dream. When Betty/Diane becomes conscious of this fact, when the painful truth starts to sink in, the color blue becomes omnipresent. The color blue represents truth for Diane. Her motivation to associate blue with truth comes from the color of the key that Joe gives to Diane. That blue key is the only symbolic proof of the horrible deed that Diane committed. Whenever the color blue comes into her vision, it provokes a huge disturbance. That is what is realized at Club Silencio. Now, as for what is gathered, it's the blue box, which unlocks the door back to reality and the pathway towards the truth regarding Diane's actions. As for what is felt, it's feelings of betrayal. Betrayal of Diane's perception of Hollywood, betrayal from Camilla, betrayal of the false reality that Diane tried to construct with her dream. This lost love, this lost innocence, is symbolized by the singer in Club Silencio, who sings a Spanish version of Roy Orbison's song, Crying, a song about lost love. Clue number 8. Did talent alone help Camilla? Well, which Camilla are we talking about? This one or this one? Either way, it doesn't really matter because they both go down the same path. They are both talented, but the thing that separated the fake Camilla and the real Camilla from other actresses was their willingness to prostitute themselves. That was what granted them fame and fortune. Diane realized this, and she gave abstract form to this reality in her dream. In Diane's dream, the Castiglione brothers, Mr. Roque, and Ed are all behind this conspiracy, the trading of sex for favors. When Joe kills Ed, this is Diane's unconscious way of getting revenge on the industry and everything they have done to young, naive actresses. Diane's belief in this conspiracy is very strong, given the existence of the blue lampshade in Mr. Roque's office. Worst of all, Diane knows that nobody wants to speak up about this reality, which is why this character says the following when he's caught in bed with fake Adam Kesher's wife.
Just forget you ever saw it. It's better that way.
That man represents the criminal underbelly of Hollywood, speaking to whosoever finds out about executives trading sex for movie roles. Clue number 9. Note the occurrences surrounding the man behind Winkies. To repeat what I said before, this character represents the dirty, dark truth of Diane's deed. This is further reinforced by the fact that towards the end of the film, we find the blue box in this character's possession. Again, blue equals truth. The dirty, dark truth. One other thing to note is that despite what David Lynch says, this character is not a man. It's actually a woman, played by an actress named Bonnie Aarons. Claiming that this hobo character is a man when in fact it's a woman might be a hint earlier on in the film that the stated reality is actually an illusion. Not a man, but a woman. Not reality, but a dream. Clue number 10. Where is Aunt Ruth? There are two answers to this question. One comes from Betty and the other from Diane. Betty says that Aunt Ruth left Hollywood to go film a movie in Canada. Diane says that Aunt Ruth died and left her an inheritance. The reality is the latter statement. The former statement is Diane's unconscious attempt to pull the wool over her eyes. If Aunt Ruth never died, then Diane would never have moved to Hollywood. To conclude, Mulholland Drive is David Lynch's statement regarding the dark underbelly of Hollywood. He was trying to tell everybody about the sexual deviancy of movie producers and directors long before the advent of things like the Harvey Weinstein scandal and the Me Too movement. It's so brilliant to disguise this message in the way Lynch does because it not only protects him from accusations of slander, but it also makes the audience feel the same horror that he felt when he discovered the truth. When you uncover a criminal conspiracy of this scale, where prominent people were going unpunished for the worst possible deeds, it's worse than just having somebody tell it to you point blank. It's when you discover it for yourself. When you realize that the nightmare is real and the dream is fake, and when you realize just how powerless you are to stop it, then you know you have experienced true horror.